Greetings, Sentinels fans. Apologies for my absence. Time for some more lore. This time for our happy-go-unlucky friend, Setback. Hello, everyone. Amanda told me it's probably best to record this interview alone. Less chance of things breaking. Little late for that, actually. The light broke, so I'm in pitch darkness. Recorder's still working, though. Anyway, my name is Pete. Oh, wait, was I supposed to say that? I guess we can edit that out. You may know me as the superhero Setback. I've done a ton of crime fighting in Megalopolis and Rook City. I wasn't always a hero, though. I was a regular boy, just doing its best and not always managing it. I have the weirdest luck. I've failed tests on subjects that I've studied my butt off for, and I've aced tests I've put zero effort in. The world is weird like that. But this luck stuck with me. I've gained and lost jobs at the drop of a hat, but it was never such a problem. Everything turns out alright in the end, no matter what. Anyway, while I was between jobs, I found an ad for a drug experiment. I get paid to stay at their facility while they monitor me. Seemed like a good deal, so I signed up. It seemed to be a small pharmaceutical company. I think it was called Riva Corp. They were a little standoffish, but otherwise they were fine, at least at first. Whatever they gave me seemed to be some good stuff, as I bulked up really quick, gaining muscle without too much effort. I felt better physically than I ever had, but for some reason the lab wanted to keep me there. I didn't want to stay. I had another job to go to, and at one point their speakers came on saying that all the other patients were getting really sick. I decided that the place was kinda shady, so when someone forgot to lock my door, I just kind of walked out. Nobody was around, so I just walked out in my hospital gown. Not the most dignified moment, but it is what it is. More concerning, though, is that when I left, I found that my apartment had burned down. Apparently, a candle that I had in my apartment had a production error, and it was one of those candles that relit. So, that was a bummer. What's more, while I was searching through the rubble, I was attacked. I think it was those guys at the lab. They had an odd military and a mad scientist leading them. And just as quick as they arrived, so did the Freedom 5. We worked together to fight off those villains. I ended up taking on a bunch of the minions myself. I think I even saved the Wraith from a death laser. Regardless, during the fight I fell unconscious, and once the ruffians were run off, the Freedom 5 took me to their headquarters. They asked if I was some kind of hero, and Tachyon said some comment about me being a setback in her day. I decided I liked that name, and from now on, I was the hero Setback. The Freedom 5 gave me a place to stay, and I helped them out when I could. Though I think some of them preferred if I didn't. But hey, as long as I was helping protect people, everything was fine. I can deal with my clumsiness if it's only me getting hurt. The closest I got to hanging up the costume was when I got hit in a fight and crashed into Larry, the janitor for the headquarters. He got hurt pretty bad, and I left the heroes for a time. Though Larry did seek me out and convinced me to come back and be a hero again. I wasn't a member of the Freedom 5 or anything. They are a tight-knit group and don't need me mucking up things. I did team up with a bunch of other heroes, though. Most notably Raw, which, man, working with him is stressful. Raw is powerful and everything, but his fights tend to get out of hand. I often feel like I have to follow him around with a fire extinguisher just to make sure people don't get hurt. I have to say, though, he is a very nice guy and gives great advice when he's, not burning things. Still, when I started doing stuff in Rook City with Expatriate, it was almost a relief. She's at least a lot more deliberate when she kills things. She really is amazing, though. She doesn't have the advantages the other heroes have, but she does real well. She's organized and thoughtful and has a focus that I can never achieve. I'll say it, she's a certified badass. I don't even remember how we started dating, it just kinda happened. It just worked, Everything we do is for the better, both for ourselves and the world. It's one of those relationships where you both are better for it. At least, I feel I'm better for it, and I hope she feels the same. My relationship with her is nothing like my other relationships. I guess that kinda does bring up Kismet. She and I, we used to date in high school, but when she moved away, she didn't take the breakup well. I don't know what happened to her to get her to turn to crime. She shows up every now and then, which gets a little awkward when she and Expatriate are in the same room. There are times I wonder if there is something that I could do to turn Kismet away from this life. Maybe someday my words will get through to her. There was a time when me and Expatriate made a hero team kinda by accident. Mr. Fixer was dead, but someone stole his body, so we asked Nightmist to help us find him, where she took us to the other side of the planet, where we met the sorcerer Zhulong. He brought Fixer back to life, but brought him back wrong. He was angry and violent and honestly pretty terrifying. We were able to get him out of there, but only barely. Amanda wanted to just get out of there, but I was sure we could get Zhulong to fix our friend. So I ended up doing the stupid thing and went back after the sorcerer on my own. Next thing you know, I fall into a vat of acrid-smelling liquid and I pass out. Then I'm being mind-controlled by Zhulong and he's manipulating my aura in some ways. That things are working out well for me, which means it was working out well for him. So the others now had to come and rescue me. Of course, the newer, angrier Fixer's idea to save me was to beat me up a lot. So he and I are wailing on each other. Nightmist is having a magic duel with Zhulong, and then my girlfriend shoots me. But it's okay, they're just non-lethal shock ammo. It apparently did the trick, giving Nightmist the opportunity to knock away Zhulong and sever the mind control on me. And then ninjas happened, and portals happened, and dragons happened, and then we were safe, somehow. It was a bit of a blur towards the end there. That, and when Fixer hits you, it really hurts, and my head was a little foggy. Regardless, the four of us decided it was best to stick together after that. Rook City needed some cleanup, and we could even help in cases of weird magic. We became a kind of Dark Watch, and soon added Harpy to our group, and made a few other allies in the city. We worked tirelessly to make life in Rook City a little easier, remove any threats who would do its people harm, whether that is the ever-present organization, or an incursion by Gloomweaver. Not too long into our team's existence, we met the Fae Court, and more specifically, I met Ogma. He's a leprechaun, and not the goofy St. Patty's Day people. He's a forest creature of great power and wisdom. He was able to look into me and see my curse. I always thought my luck was just happenstance, but Ogma showed me that it was very, very real. He needed my help removing an entity pretending to be a leprechaun. He offered a gold coin that would exacerbate my curse, but it would give me Ogma's sight and understanding of the flow of luck. Using this, I could see potential possibilities and be able to choose the lesser of two evils. I could even touch someone with the coin and spread my curse to them. But the Fae never do anything for free. I was bound to him, connected to him. And the Fae have their own ideas for what they want, and they can hurt people as well. Thankfully, the team's magical ladies took care of it sometime later, and I'm back to normal. Well, maybe not normal. I know more about my own luck and can probably work with it better now. But of course, then came Progeny and Oblivion. When Progeny came down, it wrecked the Freedom 5 and the Prime Wardens. We weren't going to do too great. Progeny rampaged through Rook City, nearly tearing it to pieces. We lucked out when it finally took enough damage to flee into space as a bit of a cool flying head thing. Still, it became clear that there was going to be an even bigger threat. That threat, of course, Oblivion and his scions. Expatriate and I ended up fighting the scion Darkmind, and she messed with us, played with our minds. When I came out, I was not myself. Everything I was, every value I held dear, everything that made me who I am. For those brief hours, none of it mattered to me. People got hurt around me and I didn't even try to help. It's a wonder that I didn't get any of the other heroes killed. I never want to be like that again. Later, when Faultless fixed me and the others, I came out fine. But I was shaken to my core, just... We continued fighting in Rook City, trying to minimize damage. Oblivion himself was there, wrecking everything. And, I know this is a bit off topic, but I had a dream once, where we battled in Rook City all day. Progeny, which had apparently come back after a color change, did something. I don't even remember what, but it dragged us away from the battle, and while we were away, Oblivion destroyed the city. 1 second it was there, next it was rubble. I dug through the rubble, looking for survivors where I could. I ended up finding Chrono Ranger. You know, that time-traveling cowboy. Well, he must have been at the center of the blast. There wasn't much left of him. I looked through his tech, hoping to find some medical kit or something to try and help him out. I touched the sheriff's badge he wore and, well, the dream ended there. I'm, not sure why I told you that, but it seemed relevant somehow. Of course, in real life, Chrono Ranger did this cool time thing that repaired a lot of damage dealt to the city, and then he took his gun and nailed Progeny right in the circle, absolutely obliterating it. This, of course, let us concentrate more on the big guy, who fled the city. Man, those days were just non-stop fighting, weren't they? Oblivion would come back in his small, concentrated form, and bring in armies to kill us. But we had an ace up our sleeve. Our friend Nightmist opened portals to numerous universes and brought over many allies to help us. But at the cost of her own life. Us and these extra-dimensional allies fought Oblivion and his forces until, finally, we had him defeated. It was over. We took some time to rest, pick up the pieces, and mourn the dead. Of course, just because the biggest threat to the world was gone doesn't mean our work was done. New villains are always showing up, people are always in danger. We decided that Dark Watch needed to grow. Maybe we can train people to join our watch. Me and Expatriate will continue to take things one day at a time. No matter what kind of setbacks you face, it will all be okay in the end. Okay, and with the end of the narrative, let's talk about a few more incidentals. First off, as you may have guessed, the dream I put into the narrative about Pete finding Chrono Ranger's body is, in fact, an actual event, and additionally is the dividing point between the main Sentinel Comics universe that we follow in the RPG, and the Miststorm/Vertex universe that we see in the Tactics game and the sadly cancelled Prime War game. It does indeed feel like peak Setback that he accidentally created the situation that led away from the harsher universe. Or maybe created the bad universe by kind of pushing Oblivion to the main timeline. I guess it's all a matter of perspective. The second thing worth mentioning is the origin of his luck curse. This is one thing that wouldn't really show up in his story because it was such a comparatively small thing that neither party would even recognize the event as significant. This is, of course, Pete's breakup with Gabrielle Adhin, later known as Kismet. Kismet always had a lot of inner power, even back in high school, but she wasn't aware of it until she stole her family's talisman after the two broke up. At the time, Kismet cursed Pete using the word, "have the misfortune of the coyote." I am not familiar with the stories of the Arikara Native Americans, so I don't know the significance of this. Pete's frame of reference, though, is Wile E. Coyote, so he makes light of this proclamation, saying, hey, he bounces back from getting hit by anvils really well. Which exasperates Gabrielle more, so she goes, you know, when anvils are falling, I wish you the best of luck. So of course, the mixed messaging of the wording of the two statements means that Pete will have consistent bad luck until things are really dire, and then he will have great luck. This is probably why both versions of Setback's deck use bad luck as a resource for his good luck powers. But of course, since neither Pete nor Gabrielle realized that she cursed him, neither would really think the breakup was the cause of his curse. To him, he's just always had really weird luck. And third, my feelings on Setback. I love this dude. He's got his weird luck, but it usually doesn't really bother him. Pete is just a really optimistic person to the point where not much can really affect him. He does get upset if his luck causes other people to get hurt. He can take all his own punishment, but he can't handle being the cause of someone else's misfortune. I like that empathy and optimism. Makes me think he would be an awesome friend. Yeah, this almost blind optimism can make him seem kinda dense and naive, but out of all the heroes, I feel I can trust him to be the hero we need. Though maybe not the hero we deserve. A lot of people in the fandom characterize him as a bit of a puppy dog in that way. Anyway, I hope you have enjoyed this episode. Take care, friends.